I just watched the press conference with Jason Kidd and the Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison and what they had to say about the Luka Doncic trade. So, when I watched this press conference, I was looking for any clues and hints to why Doncic was traded. Like, did Doncic do anything to get traded? Like, did he ask for a trade? Was there any issues within the organization with Doncic? Like, we had been hearing about his conditioning being an issue, but they didn't mention any of those things. Great, I still did find it interesting what this guy had to say about the trade. It was funny watching this press conference mainly because of just seeing Jason Kidd's facial reactions while sitting next to him. And just judging by Jason Kidd's reactions, it didn't seem like he was thrilled with this trade or he even wanted this trade to go down. He seemed frustrated, but he was like towing the company line, showing support to Nico about this trade. But I don't think he was really happy about it. It was pretty funny. But the few nuggets I did pick up from this press conference was that I really do believe this came down to them not wanting to offer Luka Doncic the supermax. Nico hinted at that kind of indirectly when he said that, well, when it came to Luka, we would have to offer him the extension, and then we would have to decide whether or not to offer him the supermax or not to offer him that. And then a reporter asked Nico the question, like something like, was this like a difficult decision to make and offering him the supermax? Nico then tried to play it off by saying, oh, no, it was. It's just that we don't know if he's going to sign the extension. Then we're put on the clock and we'll have to do something, but we just don't know, which to me doesn't make any sense because most players, I would say 99% of players, if you offer the supermax, they're going to sign it. They'll sign it. And then if they don't like playing for you later on, they'll try to force a trade, but they never say no to the Supermax. I've just seen this long enough, as long as the Supermax has been in effect the last several years. Guys never reject the Supermax. So that to me just didn't make any sense. I think ultimately they didn't want to offer him that money. And it may not have been the case of Nico or Jason Kidd not thinking he was worth the money. It could have been really the owners of the organization, the Adelson family, may not have been willing to spend that money on him. They could be the type of owners in the sense that they want to own an NBA franchise. They view it as an asset, but nothing more than an asset. And in the sense of it being an asset that it always appreciates in value, but they don't care about winning. They could have losing seasons as long as the asset is valued more than what they bought it for, they're fine. That's the way I think these people operate, to be honest. So I think that's damning if you're a Mavericks fan, because what that shows to you is that these owners will never be willing to really break the bank for the Mavericks to have a championship team. They could possibly, maybe in the future, they get lucky by winning a championship when the budget is not above the luxury cap threshold. But that's the only way they could possibly win a title in the future, which will be very hard to do. So that's what they wanted to point out. I think a lot of this had to do with them not wanting to give him the supermax. That's really what it came down to, because he would have asked for it and they wouldn't give it to him. And then obviously Luka probably would have felt insulted by that. And you know how that goes. So I think it was really had to do with money. The other thing I found interesting about this press conference, in which Nico admitted that he had been talking to Rob Pelinka for the last few weeks secretly about trading Luka to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, and that it was just between those two and no one else knew, allegedly, according to him. And he admitted that not even Jason Kidd knew about the talks they were in for this trade, that he never told Kidd about it. Kidd seemed frustrated about it when he said that. You can see by his facial reactions when he played it off, when he was saying him and Nico are on the same page, they're in this together, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think Kidd was thrilled about this trade. The other funny thing about it was when Kidd told the reporters when this trade happened that he was a little bit shocked about it. I think he was trying to play it off. I think he's only a little bit shocked, but I think he was shocked bigly, as they would say. He was just telling them that he was shocked by it. And that Kyrie was also shocked by this trade, that he had a different point of view about this trade than Jason Kidd did. That's what he said, and that they would have to talk to Kyrie about how he felt about this trade. So I don't think anybody within the Dallas Mavericks organization, when it comes to the coach and the players, were really down for this trade. But now they're stuck with this, and And yeah, I think they probably will regret this trade long term. Just if Doncic gets in shape, I think this all hinges on if Doncic decides to devote himself to being in great shape physically, then yeah, they'll definitely have sour grapes about doing this trade. Now, if Doncic continues to be a fat fuck and not care about playing basketball, then I guess they can sleep better at night knowing that he's never going to win a title being out of shape. And maybe they get lucky with this trade. I think their ultimate hope is that they can somehow fluke their way to the title with Anthony Davis and Kyrie, but I think it's highly unlikely. The biggest issue I think they have going forward with these two guys is that Anthony Davis does have a history of being injury prone. Granted, he has been relatively healthy these last 2 seasons, but you just never know with him. And Kyrie, just mentally, Kyrie has been known to check out, so you don't know with him. So both of them are like ticking time bombs, I meant to say, in different aspects. So that's a risk they have with those two guys. And I don't think either one of them is a clear number one. They're both great number twos. They've demonstrated it on championship teams, but I don't think either of them can be a number one. So that's another dilemma. And the Mavericks also have a huge hole at small forward now. I don't know how they're going to fill it. I guess you have Clay play that, but Clay is, 50 years old now in NBA years. So I don't see how this is going to work out even in the short term for them. But I do see them still making the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to contend for a title. So we'll see what happens.